Let's talk about the FIR filter. What kind of FIR filter are you using? Is a linear phase filter? No. We are not manufacturing a crossover here. We cannot introduce 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 milliseconds if you put an FIR filter. We are adding 12 samples every time you go through a FIR filter. 12 samples is nothing. You cannot have a linear phase filter calculated within 12 samples. So our approach is a warping FIR filter, having the maximum resolution where you really need the maximum resolution. So the number of the taps are not linear. You have much more taps where you need it in the lower frequency for higher resolution, and a lower number of taps at the high frequency where you need less resolution in order to have an overall best resolution and keep the overall latency. So our approach is a minimum phase filter, which means that every time that you are changing the magnitude, as a side effect, you have a little bit of rotation of the phase. If you measure the phase rotation with or without the custom filter, that's a nice test. We still have the PA system running and the pink noise. Then we can plot the phase, right? So you see that the phase is slightly changing depending upon the custom filter is in or not. But it's not destroyed. It's slightly rotated as any other FIR filter, even if you do it with the Lake processor or the other. So it's not completely destroyed. But because it's clear that the higher is the change in the magnitude, the bigger is the phase rotation or the phase shifting.
That's a fixed 12 sample latency on the FIR filter, regardless of how many bands you have integrated.
It's not, there's no bands. It's just a complete calculation of the transfer function. It doesn't matter how many filters, it's just the shaping. From in to out, you have 12 samples. That's it. Okay? So now, what if my subwoofer is having a different phase behavior? So let's move the microphone towards the subwoofer on the other side, please. And let's get a measurement of the subwoofer, just, to see if what's going on. And then which are the tools that we can provide you to steer the phase in the crossover range, in the crossover frequency range. Of course, in that case, you need an all-pass filter. The all-pass filter is not available in the FIR. It won't be a good choice there. It's very complicated to get an all-pass filter done with the FIR approach. Therefore, we offer that option into the IIR filter. So in the IIR filter, which are available in numbers 32 different IIR filters, you have up to, in this case, you have a limited amount of filters. So it's a really one filter output into the next filter, into the next filter, and the next filter. And therefore you have that. With the IIR filter, if I want to play with a normal filter, low shelf, high shelf, when I'm reaching the number of 6, finished. It's not gonna give you, so I can have low shelf, high shelf, 2, 4 peaks, 1 notch. So how many filter? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have another choice. That's it. So another peak filter here. Over. You see, add filter, no more. So you have 6 filters, enough to screw up any kind of channels you want, no problem. So if you want to see which is the phase behavior of the resulting filter, you just can plot the phase. So in the IIR filter, we also make the evaluation of what will be the phase rotation, because then you can have a prediction of your all-pass filter. So probably during the PA tuning, what you really want to use among these filters are those. Change the page, get the all-pass filter, second order, with you can change the slope of the IIR, the FIR, the all-pass, or get rid of that, put the first order, which is always and always guaranteeing a phase rotation of 90 degrees at the
Can
frequency.
you see the phase at the same time?
This is the phase.
Oh, okay.
This is the phase. The dotted one is not, I mean, if it's an all pass, so it's not changing the magnitude, only the phase. So this is the phase steering that you can have. So, and then you can have up to 6 different all pass. There you really screw up everything. So you put a couple of second, and then woo. And then the blue one is the one of the filter that you are playing now. The gray one is the overall filter. So depending upon how you do it, this is the first filter, this is the second filter, so you can move the frequency of this filter, and then you have the overall thing. And if you measure with the smart, it's absolutely accurate. This is what you see is what you get, 100%. So let's try to steer the phase of the subwoofer. Let's play something towards the subwoofer. Let's mute the array. My voice will not get through the PA system. Forget about that. Let's unmute the sub. Let's unmute the sub and play the subwoofer. There you go. Let's increase a little bit the volume. Let's go to let's recalculate the delay needed. We move the microphone, so it's always a good idea. Okay, what if we don't like that? What if you don't like this? Probably, because this is going to be much more important, because this is definitely in the crossover area. So if you want to change this behavior, we simply get to the subwoofer, open the thing here, get the smart phase plotted, and play with the filters. We had the all pass filter. You get that? There you go. Look, this is what I want. Something which is in the crossover range, usable. Now I can find a delay which is matching the other thing. Well, I should have measured before the PA system to see if that is the one. But this is the way that I'm steering the phase in this region. This is probably the region where the cross point is, the crossover is working. But you know better than me how to use that. I don't want to teach you how to use an all-pass filter. I just want to tell you that you have.
That's what I meant by listing the phase of the phase trace from the smart.
Yeah, the dotted green one is the real phase measured by smart now because of the filter. If you bypass the filter, the smart will detect that the phase is completely different in that region. Look at that.
I got a question. If you had like two inputs and you wanted to compare, you're trying to lock up the inputs and all pass filters, could you have one trace of an input on there, or is that only smart traces?
Sorry, I didn't get the
If you had
question.
two inputs. Let's say
Yes.
you had an inside kick drum mic and an outside kick drum mic, and you're using all pass filters to try.
You have up to 8 different transfer functions that you can send on smart, so you can have all of them at the same time. And when you get the smart, you can see them all. So it depends how many different transfer functions you want to get calculated on smart. Since you have the Dante Virtuosan card, you have the kick drum and the in and out. You send it to smart. You calculate the difference, and then you get everything measured, and then you can have in the same EQ environment. The key is to have the same EQ environment with the same proportions and the same size of the measurement, so you can really overlap the things. Okay, so I'm not gonna spend more time on the all-pass filter for a very simple reason. I have no idea how to use it. I tried many times, and I always gave up, unless you really have a very clear different slope between the crossover range, and therefore the one which arrives first needs to wait a little bit and steer it, and then you can find the delay. That's what I know. But am I an expert of an all-pass filter? No, right? So you are the expert, or if you're not, well, at that point, it's your problem, it's not my problem.
But Luca, it's one of the most brilliant tools in aligning if you're bringing in different, like Dante versus ADB into the screen, you're never going to get them to line up from the network in front of you.
Absolutely.
And the all-pass filter.
Good point. Good point. Very good point. Martin. Very good point, Martin. Okay, so you have plenty of all-pass filters. First order, second order with tunable slope if you use the second order.